Yo, what's up, family? Hope everybody having a great day. Coming here to give you guys a recap of our focus last week, which is on self-control, man. Great conversation that we just had. If this is your first time, welcome to Little Brother Inspires YouTube channel, where we're talking about all things inspiring people to get closer to God. So with this devotional recap, as we said, we talked about self-control. So I'm going to give you guys a scripture. We're going to jump into what we talked about with the conversation. And if you want to join the next call, it's all free. All you got to do is send an email to the link to the information and the details of this video, get you involved, and just get joining these conversations that we're having every week on Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern. So let's get to it. All right, so the verse is Proverbs chapter 14, verse 29. So it says, "He who is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who is quick-tempered exalts folly." So again, when we think about self-control, first thing that comes to my mind is how can we put ourselves in a space where we're allowing the spirit to take over our flesh? Like controlling those fleshly desires, our worldly desires, those desires that are in our heart that we might want to take action on, but we have to practice self-control, similar to what Jesus did while he was walking the earth. We have to follow his example and be a representation of him in the world every single day. Because why? The devil is attacking every single day to do three things: kill, steal, destroy. All things that we're trying to do in our lives, and let alone those things, but us just in general, our life, our existence. He wants to kill those things. He wants to kill us. So we have to have that understanding of realizing how can we look at every situation that we have from a spiritual sense and say, how can I navigate a situation in a way that's going to make God proud of me, to bring favor over my life, to bring blessings in my life, to give me better 2020 hindsight. When I look back and say, okay, I made that decision, I'm glad I made that decision. That was the best thing for me to do. Because sometimes in a moment, our flesh just wants to rise up and take advantage of that situation and do the things that we used to do, or it might want to take advantage and start hurting people, saying things we don't want to, take action on things we don't want to. And we have to be in a space where we say, you know what? I'm choosing God. I'm choosing my spirit over my flesh every single day. And that's where we have to be. Are we going to be perfect? No, because we all are sinners. We all fall short of the glory of God. But we have to be in a space every time to say, okay, I want to have progression over perfection mindset. What I mean by that is that maybe I don't get it right yesterday, but I'm going to get it right today. Maybe I don't get it right today, but I'm going to get it right tomorrow or later on in the day. So we have to be conquerors of our entire day, because sometimes we can be in a space where, you know what, maybe your self-control wasn't the best in the morning time. And you're like, man, and then if you hold on to that instead of just giving to God, receiving his grace and his forgiveness, that can mess up your entire day, your entire week, the next day, a couple of days. But if you just say, you know what, my self-control wasn't the best between 8 to 9 this morning, but you know what, from 10 to 12 or 10 through the rest of the day, I'm going to make sure I'm on top of my self-control. So just getting back up is the right mentality. How can you progress and be better every single day? And so some of the things that we talked about in regards to the significance of having self-control in our life is the power. We have the power. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but power and love and a sound mind. So that lets us know that we have a sound mind in every situation that we go through. We have to be in control of our thoughts, control of our body, control of the things that we do. Why? Because there's so many things going on around us that is not aligned with God. And we know that whether you're going to work, whether you're going to school, whether you're in your home, you're watching TV, you know that the devil is around us. You can just see it by the activities. So we have to be in a space where you know what? I have to have self-control and take that power back, not give that power to someone else. Don't give that power to someone else. Think before we act. Think before we speak. That allows us to keep that power, to make sure when I'm thinking, let me think to speak with the spirit, to act in the spirit, and not in the flesh do I think, not in the flesh do I act, because if after those things happen, we can't get them back. We cannot get them back, and that's when we lose the power. But we have the power when we think before we act and think before we speak. So that's another significance of us having self-control, is that we have the power in our hand. And again, the second component to that is that our walk with God is easier. Man, if you're younger, just listen to the older people that you have in your life. And I'm just telling you from this from experience. And anybody that's older, if you're watching this, you know, when you have experienced life, you understand, you know what? if I'd have had more self-control, my life would have been a lot better. I would have made a lot better decisions. So when you have other people in your life that's pouring into you, that's telling you these different things, take heed to it. Take the counsel. That's wise counsel. Take wise counsel, because the people who really care about the generation that's coming behind them, we want to pour in them. Why? Because we want them to have a mindset of like, you know what? I can learn from something without going through it. I let that person go through it, and then now I can be the recipient of the blessings that come from making better those, not making that decision. And that's when you have wisdom. That's where the wisdom comes into play. Like they say, a smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So we have to be in a place to be wiser. Why? Because you want to learn without going through those situations. So the next one, we talked about accountability with self-control. Like, how can we hold ourselves accountable? And one of the things that we talked about is like the aspect of thinking before we act, think before we speak, but then also providing grace and mercy towards other people, even when they don't need it. Even when they don't need it. And you're like, probably like, oh, why? Why should I do it? Why? Why? Because God provides grace to you. God provides mercy to all of us. So, and even when we don't deserve it, but God gives it freely to us as a gift, his love for us. And we are to model and be after his representation. So we have to make sure that we do the same thing to others. So cutting off our flesh to say, even though this person might have wronged me, they've done something to me that I don't agree with, but I still have to love them. I still have to say, you know what? I look beyond your faults. I provide that grace. I provide that mercy. I provide that love. I provide that forgiveness. Why? Because I love God and God loves you. So I love you automatically. And I want God to forgive me. I want God to give me the grace. I want him to love me. So I have to do that in return. And that's why in the Bible, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So it's some people in our lives that we're going to come across that they don't know what they're doing. And sometimes they do know that they're wronging us. But sometimes people don't. And it's all about the perspectives. Like they're going to have their perspective. We're going to have our own perspective. But at the end of the day, God's perspective is the most important one. And he's telling us to forgive. He's telling us to love. He's telling us to give grace. He's telling us to give mercy. So we have to follow that path. Again, as we talked about at the very beginning, the importance of choosing our spirit over our flesh. So we have to make sure that we're doing those things, and that's the ability to be able to hold ourselves accountable. If we understand that God gives it to us freely, we have to be able to give it to others, and then use our discernment from that path going forward. So that was really like the overall takeaway from this week as we talked about self-control. I appreciate you guys for coming on, for watching. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. You never know who needs this inspiration. And also, if you guys are looking to get added, like I said at the beginning of this call, just look at the description in its details, send me an email, get you added, and get into the conversation, man, and start having it live in the group. So looking forward to it. I hope that y'all have a great week. To God be the glory. Peace.